you tell me why 1814 in Serbia with Napoleon soldiers? Because this is very, very specific.
Well, it was we liked the look of it. First of all, we knew that it would be cool to have them in this kind of wardrobe, and also just to play in with the whole theme of alienation and people invading. They were invading that territory.
Lulu wrote the first draft of the film that we did, Hellhole, and then and she wrote it to take place in Canada, and then as it went into production and it got moved to Serbia, Toby kind of took over and kept changing the script to match the new environment and the new things, and that's when before it was actually French settlers, French trappers in the original story in Canada, but we loved the whole French story. And so Toby did a lot of research and found out that some of Napoleon's troops did venture into Serbia. So historically it was correct. So that's why that turned like that. So Toby ran the show on the script once it got moved to Serbia.
The Serbian cast was just so easy to work with. They have to believe the subject matter, no matter how far out it is. And they did. And they were so willing to play. I think there's a playfulness to them that really shines through. They were ultimate professionals, a pleasure to work with. And the material also made sense to them because we had worked with people there to really translate the material to how it would make sense within their locality.
Actually, Seeger, one of the producers, found it, and it's an old Russian mine. And when he showed us pictures and said, do you think that we could shoot, would this be okay? We were like, oh my God, that we could just film that for half an hour and it'd be perfect. It was a great environment. And it turned out that it was under some Serbian mountains that were like very special to Serbia, filled with kind of spiritual myths, and it really played into the story well. Todd Masters, who's an amazing effects artist out of Canada, put together that monster for us and the production team, and then he brought it over to Serbia. And so we wanted to have a real monster, we didn't want to do CGI or anything like that. So Todd made us this wonderful monster that then Trey Lindsay brought to life with stop motion and puppetry and all sorts of things. He was great to work with.
Well, this was the first time that the camera was not in John's hands. He's usually the DP with our younger daughter, Zelda Adams. And they used an RE Alexa. And it was just a new experience seeing it through a monitor instead of the camera, or for me just standing there, which of course I could still do. But so that was really wild. And using lighting, it was a brand new experience for us. On most films, they're collaborating that way. That was, I'd say, the wildest thing for us.
Because we love working together. We're good friends, the four of us. And that was what was interesting about this movie, was this was done with a crew. And so when you work with a crew, there's rules. It's a whole different kind of world. Generally, when we make films, it's with Lulu, Zelda, Toby, and me. And it's just a different environment, a different way of filmmaking.
And how does it work when you're all together?
It's a very democratic process. If we have 3 or 4 different ideas, we shoot it 3 or 4 different ways because we have the luxury of doing that. And then within the editing process, the best idea always rises to the surface.
In Hellhole, that's my music. However, we do have a band, Hellbender. But since this wasn't really like, the family didn't make this movie, we thought it would be better for me just to do the soundtrack, because I wanted to mix, for it to work right with Hellhole, we had to kind of mix like heavy music with kind of that Euro sound. And so it was a different thing because Hellbender is our family band that we just write songs together. And it wouldn't have really worked with this film. Oh, that's a great question. Yes, this was the first time I edited to a film. Like usually, because we make movies together, we also make music together. The two of them are very connected, and we just do that together, and they end up together in our movies. But in this case, I put together the edit and then wrote music for the edit. Yeah, that's a great question.
I think you also were kind of painting a lot of the editing actually to the music. There's like a staccato kind of thing that John does in the editing that I think your music and your editing were really kind of, working together.
Yeah, I think that was fun about editing it and something that was necessary for me because when we make movies as a family, we do everything from A all the way to Z. And in this case, there was a lot of things that were kind of out of our control. And it was musically, I got to kind of re-put some of our touch back onto the film. And so it was a nice experience.
Well, John was always painting. He's a great artist. Our kids were really little when we started. Well, they were 6 and 11. I was 40. We always have loved movies. It's just kind of a family thing to sit and crowded into bed and watch movies with popcorn, in the sheets. And so when we decided to make our first film, it felt very natural. The kids wanted to act, but we soon realized we loved being part of the story, the storytelling equation. We are always talking about stories over a meal. We're hashing out ideas when we're in a car, when we're hiking. I think it's just in our DNA.
I love movies that find the heroism in broken characters. And so an example of that would be like The Wrestler. Like he's a broken person, but you find some heroism in this broken person. So that would be my answer, is I like that. Well, how about you, Tobe?
I think my favorite movie that is a 1929 film by F.W. Murnau called Sunrise, A Song of Two Humans. I don't think a lot of people have seen it. It's super German expressionism, and it's just gorgeous. And it's just about bad girls and good girls and love and refinding your meaning of life.
So thank you guys.
Merci, Maxence. Thank you.
Merci.